Hey guys, today we are doing a finalist for the Heirloom Tomato Contest, and it's by Nanny Deb. And Merrill, what is it?
It's a tart, a savory tart with heirloom tomatoes and a lemon mascarpone and like a basil oil drizzled over the top.
Yeah.
Really delicious.
All right, so we're going to make the crust now.
Yeah, there's some cool technique involved in this crust. First thing we're going to do is use this old school sifter, which Amanda and I both have. We've got some regular flour and a little bit of salt. And this is how this nifty sifter works.
Nifty sifter.
Nifty sifter. Sifty nifter.
So I'm just adding some all-natural shortening. It's 3/4 cup. Shortening makes a really nice, tender crust.
It doesn't have to be bad for you.
That's right.
Now that we've got these new organic versions.
This is called a pastry blender. You can also use your use 2 knives, which I actually find is kind of difficult.
If you
don't have a pastry blender, just use your fingers and go like this and just basically smush up the shortening into little bits.
So before Amanda mixed in the shortening, she pulled out 1/4 cup of the flour and salt mixture. And now this is really the cool technique about this recipe that neither one of us had ever seen done before, right?
Yeah.
So you combine this flour with a little bit of water and you make a paste. And normally what we've always seen in the past is you just combine cold water, very cold water, with the flour and shortening or flour and butter. But this is really interesting because you make this paste and that acts as the liquid.
So you just want to kind of spread around the paste just enough so that you can start gathering the dough into a ball. You sort of want to fold it so it lightens it. And you can see it's starting to clump together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start squeezing it together with my hands to get a sense of whether or not there's enough liquid.
Do you need a little more?
I think just a tiny bit more. But you can see it's coming together in these kind of like little raggedy pieces. And you don't want to go, you just want to go a tiny bit further than this.
You just tell me how much.
That's probably good. Yep. That's probably going to do it. So we've got our dough, and I've shaped it into a little disc, and now I'm going to plop it over here onto a piece of plastic wrap. It looks kind of like a big egg.
It does look like a big egg.
And now we're going to stick it in the fridge for a little bit while we do some other stuff. Okay, we're going to roll out the dough now, sprinkling some flour onto 2 sheets of plastic wrap, because this makes rolling out the dough much easier.
Amanda is an expert dough roller outer.
Oh, no,
I am not.
The pressure is on. Pressure is on.
No pressure.
Okay, put a little bit on top. Okay, and then take another bunch of plastic wrap
that's been pre-floured.
Here's what I like to do, is I like to roll a little bit and then smush in the edges to remind them that they have to cooperate, whether they like it or not. What you do is you peel off the top there.
Hand it to your assistant.
Thanks, Merrill.
You're welcome.
And then it actually helps to have somebody nearby for moral support.
Just in case.
You sort of drop it in. Don't worry if there are cracks. Thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, now this is the fun part. So you peel off this. And then you lift up the edges and let them fall in to the base and press them in. You just want to, you don't want to stretch the dough, so you want to let it fall sort of naturally into the crease. Okay, so then here comes another fun part, which Merrill.
Do I get to do it?
Yes, please.
Woohoo! This I can do. So you take the rolling pin and you just roll it along the top, and it beautifully cuts off the dough. The pan itself is like a blade.
So here we've got our tart dough, and we're going to put a piece of parchment. You can also use wax paper. And then we're going to put pie weights, which we like to use dried chickpeas and rice. But you can use, very fancy, you can use actual pie weights that you buy.
Which are metal usually.
Yeah, any dried bean basically. And then you want to carefully just push it to the sides. So we put it in for about 12 minutes with the pie weights.
At 400, which is pretty high.
Yeah, and then you sort of check, and when the base is dry, we'll show you later. We're going to pull out the pie weights. Yeah.
You ready? This is a 2-person job, so you need to find a friend.
You can do this with your hands because the paper is actually not hot.
But the oven is.
Yes.
And make sure you have a bowl ready. And do not touch it.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is just put the tart back in so that the bottom can get dried out, and then the sides will brown a little bit more.
Yeah, you can see here it's just a little moist here.
So our tart is cooling over there, and while it cools, we're making what goes in it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna mix some mascarpone with lemon juice, and Amanda's gonna whip up the basil oil.
Yeah, so you take a cup of basil leaves packed, and clove of garlic, and some oil, and I added a pinch of salt. Then you just whiz it away until it's like a nice little puree.
So we have a variety of colors, which is always fun.
We like to use bread knives to cut tomatoes.
Yes, just
Makes
works
it
so much better.
easier. So what's that variety called?
This green one is called the green zebra. It has all these stripes on the side. And this is called, I think, a black prince.
Yeah.
It's very mysterious sounding.
Yes. I like it. I think that they have really nice textures.
Yeah,
and
they
this is
do.
a brandy wine. This is the kind of like, you know, juicy, sweet, delicious, and sometimes a little, it's a little bit like a water balloon.
Oh,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
They're so juicy
Yes.
that they rot quickly, but you want to get them when they're nice and fresh.
So we have our beautiful tart shell that we've unmolded.
It's gorgeous.
It's really lovely. And it held together beautifully.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just spread this lemon mascarpone all over the bottom. And I'm not gonna use quite all of it because we made a slightly smaller tart than we were supposed to. All right.
Very fun.
Think that looks all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're gonna add the tomatoes. Should we do what we
Let's
did
do what we did yesterday.
Okay, great.
This is where you can just get creative. Do your own thing. That looks pretty nice. I'm not sure we really need the rest. What do you think? Bloop.
There we go.
So we're gonna do a little salt and pepper.
Yeah.
No.
And the finishing touch is the basil oil.
Which is so gorgeous.
Yeah. So you just want to drizzle it around.
Mmm. That is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Creamy and garlicky and fresh all at the same time. It's delicious. Amanda can't talk.
I'm speechless.
Thank you, Nanny Deb, for a great recipe.